of work because you pretty much can just reuse the assets from Assassin's Creed 3 since you already have a female character there. So
Great ass! And you
basically,
got your head all the way up it!
so I'm kind of confused. Why were they saying it's going to take 100 some hours when another developer is saying, "Hey, you can do it in a day"? So you basically just tell us, and we didn't think about that when we were developing the game. So I'm sorry. I hate to see people like not give those options.
Yeah.
That like people may want to play as a different character, but you're just going to create a clone of your same character for your co-op.
Mm-hmm.
So that basically tells me you're lazy and didn't want to create new characters. Whatever. So
Still gonna buy the game.
I'll try it out. I mean, it's Assassin's Creed. You'll try it out. It's now a yearly installment, unfortunately, but we'll see. Black Flag is apparently really good, so that was good. And unfortunately, a little bit of another troubling issues. When speaking with the Nintendo of America president, Reggie Memis, if I'm getting that wrong, I know it, but I just say Reggie because it's easy to remember.
Reggie.
I'm not kidding.
I like
the originator.
Reggie Novell Johnson. Fact matters.
So when speaking to him, they were asking, because we're looking to see Twitch integration is being brought into, obviously, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And when asked, especially Nintendo, if they were going to be looking to move into that and add in streaming content for the game for Nintendo, Reggie basically responded to that it's like, we would like to include streaming services, but unfortunately we don't think it would be a good idea. We think it would be boring for people to be watching 30 minutes of Joe Blow playing a Nintendo game with nothing interactive. We think that we want to have streaming and share capabilities, but we don't want them to be bored there, and we think there should be good content. So basically Reggie was saying, no, we're not putting Twitch in there. It's kind of weird that it's like, okay, you did, especially for E3, you had the whole direct feed, which was done online, set to anybody can watch. You also had the Smash Invitational that you were set online. You used a lot of internet YouTubers to promote, obviously, your next E3. They used Mega 64, and even doing their direct feed, they even they had intermission skits done by Robot Chicken. So it's like, okay, you want to get into the audience, but you don't want to give them Twitch service. And of course, I would just want to ask you your service. I mean, when it comes to Nintendo and streaming, because Twitch is basically a streaming service, some guy plays a game and you'll be able to sit in there and watch. I mean, what do you think Nintendo's angle is? Because I'll give you my thoughts, but
I don't think they have one, honestly. I really don't. I think they're about to go out of business.
They're struggling so much right now.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of what they said.
Yeah. I honestly think is what he's actually trying to say, hidden behind the words, is saying that we would actually like to have streaming and services, but we want to curate it ourselves. They want to have it so that any content is produced or shared by the community, they want to be able to say yes or no on it. And because if you're doing all this stuff with the internet lately, especially we had last year, especially the issue with them basically copyright claiming a bunch of YouTubers, almost getting their sites not taken down, and especially just claiming the money from YouTubers, basically taking their ad revenue from them. When, you could say like, okay, they may be playing your game, but the gameplay itself and their commentary, you don't own rights to that. So Nintendo right now is falling behind the terms, especially with online, with YouTube and Twitch.tv. So sad to hear that, but come on,
If you
Ricky.
had to map out a forecast for what Nintendo's next moves or what they're going to be doing in the next couple of years, where do you see them?
Ooh, lordy. Some people have suggested, like, are they going to release another console? I mean, obviously, they need to get their games set up. They need to become a lot more friendly and interactive with the community. Now, the thing is, I don't think it's Nintendo America that's telling them to do this. I think it's Nintendo Japan, and that's what a lot of issues come up, especially YouTubers have to deal with, is copyright claiming. It all comes from Japan. Like, they just do not get and understand commentators and Let's Play and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty much.
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah, I had to find it. What's this I hear about a new Star Fox game? Right at the end,
okay. Yeah. Right at the end, we did get a tease of Nintendo's direct feed. We see Shigeru Miyamoto come back and turn around, because you can't have Nintendo without Shigeru Miyamoto showing up and being like, "Oh, hello."
hate mail to banteringbohs@gmail.com.
So right at the end,
CC Brian and Bradley.
oh no, you're not tying me into this one.
You just said it in there.
Okay. So we did see at the end there, he turned around, just saying, oh, we're looking, we're working on some new stuff, working content. And you see him there holding the Nintendo Wii and showing it, but you see a blurred out screen and a blurred out, gamepad. And as you can see in the blurred sense of it, if you look really closely, there's an R-Wings. He's playing Star Fox, so we know that's in the works.
Okay. That's what I want to hear.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not going to buy it, but I'd like to make sure Star Fox does live on.
Exactly. I mean, there are some things they hinted at, and especially it's nice to see that, okay, you're actually working on it. It sucks that you had to blur it out and make it like, kind of hidden there, but it's like, just go ahead and say, we're working on it for God's sakes.
Guess what? We're working on no Star Fox. Banzai!
Release date, push it back. Disgrace ephemery. Harry Kitty, here I come.
All right, God. Bradley, what else you got? Anything else?
I mean, I got one sad news, but I probably won't bring that up, let's be honest.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, we got a wild card, James? You got a wild card.
We
got time for a wild card. Okay.
You have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
Don't forget, you want to play rough? Okay. Wildcard, bitches!
Now, after we put 2 episodes out last week, 24.1, 24.2, and yet we did not have a wild card.
Yep.
So, no matter what, we had to have a wild card tonight.
Yeah,
we got back on schedule. So, Mr. Revere, take it away tonight with our topic.
Well, as you guys would know, my recommendations last week, which will be pretty much the same again this week. Linkin Park drops their new album on Tuesday, The Hunting Party.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me to kind of thinking a little bit as I listened to the album, which is absolutely right back on point with Hybrid Theory and Meteora. Just insane guitars, right back to doing what got them to the point they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, buddy.
But if we remember, right around Minutes to Midnight, which was still a good album, but you're kind of like, okay, this isn't what we're used to. And then it was 1,000 Suns, where you're just, what drugs were they doing when they did this album? Holy crap. So I kind of got to thinking, given a musician's success, should we be okay if an artist decides to do something experimental like what they did with a few albums of kind of taking off from the norm and doing something different, knowing that they probably have the wherewithal to say, oh crap, our sales are down, we need to do something. Let's go back to what we do best.
Yeah.
So should we just kind of not really be that quick to jump off the bandwagon if they give us one album which is nothing like what they've done? I mean, you remember like when the Beatles did all the, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely
They
Hearts
started
Club
doing
Band,
LSD.
Started tripping balls on acid and everything.
When Yoko Ono came around?
I don't know. I like to forget when the Jar Jar Binks of the 60s came around. So I just kind of got to think now. I was like, should we just be cool with
I say
people
yes,
experimenting?
because if they do, what they would maybe fall into the funk of having that same exact sound, not being able to have that creative originality again.
And you can't move away from what you're ingrained in and known for. But at the same time, is how far can they go, or how far is it of experimentation? Is it just one album when it comes to musics? I mean, you could also have movies do the same thing, where do you have one good film and then one experimental film and see if it's
definitely.
I mean, experimentation and creativity breeds, the idea that you're able to, create more and change and evolve from there. But how far is too far, I guess?
Because it's like I know a lot of the people who have just been dragging a lot of these bands through the mud these days are, of course, the tweeners and anything else that don't know what real music is.
True.
But you always give them that line of, to be a true musician or an artist, you have to be able to transcend generations and be able to take it to a different age group. So I don't know. Me personally, it was just more of I've appreciated the artistic growth that they've shown and the chances they took. Because you listen to the first album compared to 1,000 Suns, you're like, oh my gosh, you guys are brave.
Yeah.
But again, this is just one band. There's also many out there.
Plenty more out there.
How
no
about
question.
What's his name? The Boss.
Springsteen.
Yeah, Springsteen. He had a period where he did some solo stuff, and then he got back together with the East Street Band, and then he started doing better again, or whatever.
Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Soundgarden did that,
Soundgarden's
and then he
a good
did
one.
by himself. Yeah.
Who else?
What's the-
All right.
Okay, here's an easy
Phil
one to do.
Collins.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Depending. Not
Black
the
Sabbath.
band.
Black Sabbath, yeah, and then before and after, once
By Ozzy, here comes
Ozzy hears-
Dio.
yeah.
Rest in
Yes.
yeah,
Paul McCartney.
okay.
Ooh.
I want to say AC/DC for some reason, but no.
they're kind of.
Well, don't say Van Halen then, please. You do get the hell off my couch. Creative. I think.
It's hard to keep, especially just try and be creative once you get that one. When you get into that. I want to try it. That aesthetic is the best way I can describe it.
Yes.
When you're in that aesthetic, and then how do you say, like, how can I improve this aesthetic or move beyond it and, as you said, transcend it? So,
in the film world, I think if a director falls into that funk of just doing the same kind of movies all the time, and they take
Tim
a
Burton?
breather, Tim Burton's definitely a good one.
that's an easy one. That one was just on my mind.
I will throw Michael Bay in there.
Sean William Scott.
I'll throw Michael Bay in there because he did 3 consecutive Transformers films in the span of about 6 years.
Okay.
Maybe 6 to 8 years, give or take. Anyway, though. And then he did Pain and Gain, which I think is a very underrated, excellent movie. I really do. And
Netflix it.
Yeah, and that's something, it was a small little project for him or whatever, and it just went back to being, okay, Michael Bay that we love is still there or whatever.
Yeah.
Now he's going to go do another Transformers movie. God help us, but, Spielberg. Spielberg doesn't ever do the same kinds of movies, if you think about it.
It was Jaws he had, and then he did that one fly. It was 1970.
2001: A Space? No.
Spielberg. Because he did Jaws, and then what was that film right after that kind of was like, everybody was like, what the hell
The
was
space
it?
movie?
No, it was like the war film. It was like 1980 something. 1987? Was that it?
Maybe.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like right after that, and the only thing everybody remembers, especially for that, was just the beginning part because it starts out like Jaws, except that the girl gets a submarine raises up from the sea, and the girl is naked on it, and they see through the periscope, they see her, and that was like the only thing everybody remembers from that film, just that beginning part of it. I think it's
I
1987.
bet you do, Bradley.
Seriously, you're locking your door. Who are you letting in here?
Even Spielberg's had some doozies. I mean, I didn't see the movie AI. He did.
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Can it get away from aliens? Let's be honest, please.
Huh?
Spielberg's kind of set in that like aliens kind of thing.
no,
Like-
Lincoln. Lincoln was an excellent movie.
True. Yeah, that's
Lincoln
right.
was
Forgot about that.
You know, like I said, he can do any kind of movie he wants or whatever. He just sometimes you just fall into that pattern of doing the same things. Lincoln Park, going back to Lincoln Park. Remember back Fort Minor back in 2006 or whatever. Awesome CD.
Okay.
I think that's actually. I still have a majority of the songs on my iPhone right now or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I
letting
mean, that was just a side project.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that was great. And I was like, what's his name? James, come on.
Mike Shinoda?
Yeah, Mike Shinoda.
Sherman?
I'm a big fan of him, and I think him doing his own stuff, and maybe that brought new creativity. I don't know.
Yeah, we had
He did something-
Chester Bennington recently actually did a fill-in as the lead singer for Stone Temple Pilots.
Yes, I
Oh,
did hear
yeah.
that.
That
Wow.
was off the hook too.
Yeah. So, creativity is, hey, let it happen. If it wasn't for creativity, then none of us would be here right now.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
If you think about radio with creativity, any like good radio show out there, who say take a certain radio show I'm a big fan of, and they got booted off the air, and then they were creative enough to come back in podcast format, and there are a lot of those creative They don't have to deal with any program director or radio.
They don't have to
station
deal with the
whatever.
ratings and the
Exactly.
and the corporate.
They
the
deal
corporate
with the fans or
they deal with the
whatever.
fans. They deal with the
Yes.
niche. They let the niche come to them because they know what they want to deal with. Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't have to have corporate telling them exactly what to do because where's the creativity in that?
Exactly.
It's the same manufacturer thing over and over again.
Correct. And that's what's great about something like us or